Anna is a young girl aged 6 or 7. She doesn't smile much. Anna experiences a traumatic childhood due to her neglectful parents and a hostile environment. While the house she lives in is a stunning Victorian house with a beautiful staircase and wooden floors and furnishings, her home is anything but perfect. Her mother is stern and takes little notice of her. Her father interacts with her even less. And what is worse is that there is a very bizarre family member covered in a black shawl all of the time and appears not to talk but walk around moaning and gasping. Anna seems to be extremely scared of this person. Anna can hear her mother arguing with her father about this weird family member. She is upset because her bird is dead, and she blames it on this person whom she calls a witch. Anna stands outside her parents' door, but her mother tells her to go upstairs. In the next room to Anna's is the creepy family member who peers at Anna through the keyhole and frightens her so much that Anna always keeps her door locked. She even covers the doorknob with a coat to keep away from her. Anna spends a lot of time hiding from this creepy relative whilst fending for herself in pretty much all areas. She sits down to eat by herself and hears her parents arguing. She goes upstairs to sleep by herself, and she still hears her parents arguing. This is clearly not a nice environment for a little girl. Anna can't sleep, so she sneaks out to go to the room next door and sees a dead old lady that appears to be her grandmother. She is looking for a necklace, and she is searching through all of her grandma's things. Suddenly, her mother enters the room, and Anna hides under the bed where the creepy relative has put salt. Anna tries hard not to be heard, and then her mother goes away. Anna gets out from under the bed and goes up close to her grandma again, and sees that her deceased grandma is holding a fob watch with a chain, and Anna really wants it. She tries to pry it out of her hands, and accidentally snaps one of her grandma's fingers back, and she pulls the watch out and pushes her finger back down. In the next scene, Anna heads back out with the fob watch and chain in her hand and really is captivated and obsessed with this item. She rubs it in her hands and rubs her thumb over it continuously. Anna goes down to her parents' open room, but she is shocked to see her parents getting intimate. At this moment, her mind becomes severely traumatized and shattered. She appears to head into psychosis. Anna sees several bright colors, and she hears sounds that are super loud. She hallucinates that there is water on her bed, and water floods the floor of her room. She hallucinates that there is a constant drip sound when there are no dripping water taps or pipes inside the house. Many years later, Anna is a young adult. She is very quiet and observes the ocean. Suddenly, her mother puts a sun hat on her. Anna turns around angrily, frowning at her, and her mother just stares back at her haughtily. There is little love between them even several years later. Sadly, they don't appear to become close. They walk down their driveway, heading out of the iron gate that her mother opens for her. Anna's mother still acts towards her like she is a little girl who needs things done for her. She reaches out for Anna's hand, and they hold hands together as they walk up the road. A little further up, Anna coughs and removes her hand from her mother's hand to bring it to her mouth, and she doesn't hold her mother's hand again. Anna is very sensitive sensually, and she feels every brush of wind and is hyper-aware of when men look at her. Anna and her mother walk up to a lookout, and then back down following the ocean road when a red car slows down alongside them. The man looks at Anna, and Anna gives a slight longing look to the driver who is watching her. Anna's mother just stares down at Anna after this. Her mother also knows how carnal Anna is, which increases her aggression towards Anna, possibly jealousy. Anna and her mother walk through the terraced buildings of the town and head into a small store where Anna's mother is getting her hair cut and blow-dried. Anna makes eye contact with the older man in the store, and there is an awkward stare. Anna makes no attempt to say hello or make conversation. Her mother goes in and lays back for her hair to be shampooed, and Anna heads to go back out, but she turns around because from the back of the shop, her mother is staring at her, warning her not to go out. Anna gets frightened when the man at the shop randomly forces a lollipop at her lips, saying how much she has grown. She frowns and pushes it away, and then a young boy shows up outside with a soccer ball. He comes in and walks over to Anna and tries to kiss her, but she turns her head to avoid his lips. Her mother, not seeing this, tells Anna that she can go outside, but she should stay close to the shop. The young boy repeatedly bounces his soccer ball while looking at Anna. Anna becomes annoyed, then grabs his soccer ball and chucks it far down the cobblestone lane. Then they both race off to get it. Everything Anna hears reminds her of intimacy. Perhaps it's from seeing her parents get intimate when she was so young. But her breathing, and the boy's breathing sounds from running after the soccer ball in her mind, recalls the moans and sounds of intimacy. Finally, the boy reaches his soccer ball that had gone downhill until it reached a plateau of gravel and sand where a few meters away a biker group had parked. Anna finally stops after chasing the young boy to get the ball, and she notices the group. The boy goes back to the shop, but Anna stays. She looks at the men on the motorbikes, and they stare back. Instead of turning around back to the shop, she decides to be brave enough to walk past the line of men standing near their motorbikes. The wind is heavy and repeatedly blows her short dress up, so she tugs on the front to pull it down so they don't see anything. It doesn't really work. After a few more steps, Anna becomes more confident, now enjoying their attention on her. One of them maneuvers one of his side mirrors so it reflects off the sign and shines a light on her breasts, and then moves down to her crutch, and Anna covers that area with her sun hat. He starts his motorbike up, and she walks on further until she is face to face with her stern mother, who looks at her coolly. Her mother slaps her hard across the face. The bikers watch quietly. Anna looks back at her mother angrily, but her mother doesn't respond. She simply hands Anna the cane bag, which Anna tucks under her arm, and they walk off together. The scene flash forwards to her being an adult. Anna leaves the train station where she had been standing up jam-packed with other commuters, where she literally had to squeeze past some men to get onto the platform. She notices a man standing beside a taxi and walks over. She waits while the taxi driver puts back on his gloves, and she gets in the backseat. It is so hot the seat burns her, and he puts on the tiny fan which blows her dress up. She tries to solve this issue by turning her upper thighs sideways to avoid the fan. The taxi driver looks at her in the rear view window, and Anna stares back. She gives him the address of where she would like to go. As they head to her destination, she fantasizes about the taxi driver just for the fact that he is a male. It is so hot in the car that she yells him to open her window, and she sticks her head far out. She gets lost in the sensation, and imagines her clothes are ripping off and her breasts being exposed. With a sudden shock, she becomes aware of her surroundings, and the driver is peering around to look at her, expecting to be paid. She pays him, and she watches him leave. She walks up to her old house. That is where she wanted to go. It is abandoned now, and she walks in to start looking at how she can fix it up and restore it. She wanders around, but there is still a very eerie presence in the place. Anna runs herself a bath. Suddenly, two black leather-covered hands push her under the water. She is screaming, trying to avoid intaking water, but the person keeps pushing her back down, trying to drown her. She uses her toe to wrap around the plug chain and manages to pull the plug out. She holds her breath while the water drains out. When the water goes out, she runs out of the bath. She runs to another room and she locks the door. An eye looks at her through the keyhole. Later on, Anna stands out on the balcony eating, with the man nowhere to be seen, so she must have hallucinated. She goes to bed, and as she lays sleeping, the same leather-covered arms and hands feel up her body. She opens her eyes and sits up to see her legs covered in blood. She gets up to walk. She hears weird noises and sees silhouettes running past. She gets scared. There is actually a man walking around, and he has a sharpened blade with blood on it. It appears that he made cuts to her legs as she was sleeping. He comes near the light, and it's the taxi driver. She runs out to the front of the mansion and runs through the trees and foliage to get away from him. It is not just the taxi driver, but another man all in black too. Anna runs to the front gate, but the man in black has padlocked it. She hides in the bushes out of sight, and the taxi driver is looking for her. She runs back into the trees, and the man in black grabs her from behind. He covers her mouth so the taxi driver cannot find her. She runs off again, and this time the taxi driver finds her, but as he gets close to her, he gets slit by a blade because of the man in black. The man in black drags him along the tiles into the house and slices him even more. Anna stares at the body, and then she runs off. She is down a step, and she looks straight up to see the man in black staring down at her. She runs towards the front gate, but it's no use. It is locked. She then runs down some tracks, but the man in black circles around and catches up with her. She falls to her knees and goes on all fours in a sign of surrender. She stands up slowly, and the man in black faces her. She then suddenly yells and stabs him with a blade, but he kills her. In the end, Anna passed away and she is in the morgue. Her body is being prepared for her funeral.